great Father of glory, pure Father of light, thy angels adore thee, obeying your side. All out we would render. Oh, help us to see 'tis holy, the splendor of light hiding thee, immortal, invisible God, only wise, enlighting, accessing, hid from our most blessed, most blessed, most glorious, the ancient of days, almighty, victorious, thy great name we most blessed, most blessed, most glorious, the ancient of days, almighty, victorious, thy great name we praise. Most blessed, most glorious, the ancient of days, almighty, victorious, thy great name we praise. My gracious Redeemer, my Savior, I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis my, oh, my gracious, my gracious Redeemer, my Savior, oh, if ever, I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. Help me sing, my Jesus, my Jesus, I love thee. I know thou art mine, for thee, oh, that pleasure, oh, sing, loved me and purchased my pardon on Calvary's tree. I love thee, that goes on thy brow. If ever I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. I will love thee in life. I will love thee in death and praise thee as long as thou lettest me breath. And say when the dew lies cold on my brow, if ever I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. In ashes of glory and endless delight, in thy sight, I'll sing with thy victory in crown on my brow. If ever I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. Reign, Jesus, reign. Reign, Jesus, reign. King of Zion, Judah's Lion, reign. Jesus, reign. Reign, Jesus, reign for the last time. Reign, Jesus, reign. Oh, Jesus, reign in our lives. Reign, Jesus, reign. King of Zion, Judah's Lion, reign. Jesus, reign. Give the Lord a mighty clap offering. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Ebenezer. For Christ and for Christ. In the Hebrew say, "Walk momo ayo de oha." Enzima, my wave. Give a wave to the Lord. Give a wave to the Lord. Give a wave to the Lord. What a way to start our 20th anniversary. Yankopon onye Ebenezer Men's Fellowship. Onye ne zinye pa. if you look at where we have come from, honestly, it is in Ebenezer or say, Mbra, Nyame, Abohen, Ebedrini, the man Betu and friend, our chaplain, our father, very Reverend Kofi Owusu, no, we're busy in him. Now, Nyana Bompeka, Kradawa, a short exhortation. As he comes, let's give a hand of clap to him.
Yeah, the radias say or the nature. Ye na ye best on there to Methodist 247. Rejoice, the Lord is King, your Lord and King adore. Mortals give thanks and sing and triumph forever. Send what the Yantata Akoyen Yumaso, what the Yabishia Wenim. Watch them, but a baby, a Benra Naba says, share what would Dimuno, when no one. And I was say to him about him, they Danny J. If he said, wedding Kunima Maye. Yet I was a baby, Kaka Yerikan, the Adjuna home. Your pan say, Wakasa Ubeje, Wafaso SCCA. Ama umai o Yesu Kristo dimu. Amen. American Bibitia, if you look chapter 12, verse 40. Luke chapter 12, verse 40. You also must be ready. For the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. You also must be ready. For the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Life, as we all know, has an exciting beginning. But then it has an unstable unstable ending. We have nothing to do with our birth. our parents may take the decision to bring us forth. Sometimes our parents may not even be conscious that they are taking a decision. But then, once we are born and we start growing, we are excited when birthdays come. Oh, Betty, I think not too long ago, my granddaughter celebrated her 3rd birthday. She was so excited. And I remember we were excited. And 2 days ago, I called a colleague who is my age, and he also had his birthday. So I asked, what happened on your birthday? He said, oh, in our house, we have a tradition. Oto in Nkesiale, and a constant for breakfast. Then we are ye di fufu. That's after that. Oseni akoda. Let ya try ochina. Now, as we grow old like you guys, what is paramount to you is Allah, because minim da Erade Beka se Kofi Besenko. Then a passage you can say, so you also must be ready. Yenima Anka when you near many bia ye and I had you know home and Yesusunu Kayenya. Yenim into say yanso. You also. A bin me ready. Yanso yenye ready. You say yenim da oreba. Mempa ne say akade bia ye soria na de bia ye koda. Ana ye nam koba nyina ye badwene says oba de akonta ne bebu. Na say ye genedi na otiemu na hum kronkron tumi tiemu a that is a guarantee say odian beko da awie na mom yenso ma yensese ya ho Ewurade nka ye ho no mo ayen na ne ye ko ye wa sori mu efiafim adwam ni nyina no ye de asiesie ya ho ama ne mai say erenche the time each one of us has now between now and the accounting day is shorter than the time we have spent. So if you think of it in that instance, then we become conscious of our life. The age given us is 70 or 80, according to the psalmist. Others lived to 120. Some people have lived beyond, some less. But when the day comes, we'll be ready to go. The mama say, rejoice in glorious hope. I think that is what I want us to focus on. Rejoice in glorious hope. The Lord our God shall come and take his servants home to their eternal rest. Amen. Yamompai. Our dear Lord, we thank you. You want us to be ready because we do not know when we are coming. But as part of our readiness and our preparation for your coming is that we will rejoice. Because you say rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord. It's rejoice. Again I say rejoice. Mayeninje se waje yenkwa. Mayeninje se humkrunkru tiemu. Mayeninje so dia dance se ye Onyankopon ba. Mayeninje so wa maya chede a ye de ye adwuma. Na boa ye ne fa chede o de amaye no. Ye fa ye adwuma na nso aba aduasa. aduosi ne ɔha hyɛ odi anuonyam. Amen.
For Christ, we live. And for Christ, we live. The message starts as a it should be very competition for this society. Yes, as an organization, same competition. Collaboration needs to be competition. The church has the feeling that very represents social impact to the door. When is the on Saturday, 2024, Ebenezer,
For Christ and for Christ. Say, oh, yeah, when you there, just give me a wave, just give me a wave, just give me a wave. Today, we are starting a journey that was started 20 years ago. And by the grace of God, He has brought us this far. For 20 years, it hasn't been easy journey, but the Lord has been with us. So this evening in our midst, we have our Papa of the house, the Right Reverend Thomas Aponsa Donko. Also, we have our chaplain and our Papa, Very Reverend Kofi Owusu. We have our second chairman, Brother Kwame Odedankwa, is here. Our second vice chairman, Brother Ebenezer Kano, also in our midst. Tonight, we are going to talk about health. We are going to talk about health. And we invited the president of Ghana Medical Association to be with us this evening. But for some reason, he was not able to make it. But what is the obesibiara? So in our midst is our own brother who has been with us for the past 20 years. He knows this church from rooftop to this place. He is in the person of Dr. Andrews Mensah. He is the Greater Accra Regional President of Ghana Medical Association. He is also a specialist, an specialist. He's a local preacher, he's a chorister, he's a Methodist. And tonight, we have a privilege to introduce to you Dr. Andrew Mensah.
Ebenezer, for Christ. So it was a coincidence why I found myself here. I'm really surprised. Bakwesi, it commands the whole Ghana Medical Association in Ghana. Yes, and I'll tell you the reason later. That's why he was able to go straight to the headquarters to invite the president. But being an able assistant of the Ghana Medical Association, that is, in Ghana Medical Association, we have chairpersons of all the regions. So I am the chairman of the Greater Accra Division of Ghana Medical Association, like Greater Accra Minister. And so he commanded that, Andrew, I think that you are close to where this invitation is, so you should go and do justice. He actually said a certain church, men's fellowship, it was a bit vague, because you can't blame him. But when Pakwesi spoke with me, and I was trying to find out which church and where I was to go, I said, oh, what a coincidence. So I started giving him a brief on rooftop, mentioned Elijah Danso, and everybody who could come to mind. And so that is the reason why I am here. I wish you well. Whatever blessings that you have, I also position myself and, take same. Because I used to follow Sophosechi Apia then from Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International Circles. You have to actually track the speakers. He was one of the speakers. So I tracked him to the rooftop. I remained with him through and through. I was at Tema West Circuit, for those who don't know Mount Zion, but we've led the circuit about 4 years ago. Okay, so I know I've been here, I've been part of almost all your programs. Medical care, preaching appointment, virtually everything. And I think you started from, James Brew is waving. Everybody, I think you started from a certain wooden structure somewhere here. And then, so I'm back home. I'll use a few minutes to share what I have with you, and then we'll open up for questions, and then we'll end the day. So this was the topic that I was giving, family and men's health. So I'll try. Next slide, please. So this will be the outline of the presentation, introduction, and then we'll talk about a holistic approach to health. You cannot talk about men's health in isolation. And then we'll touch on disease prevention and medical checkups. It's an old topic. I don't know how many times I've delivered this topic here in the circuit and everywhere, but it never goes away. Relevant. And then we'll talk about the prevailing problem, and then how to fund these medical tests. Just to give you an idea, and you may add on. We'll conclude, and we'll move on. Next slide, please. So this is the definition of health as we have from WHO. People have criticized this definition, but it's still what we work with. Also, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So by this big definition, you realize that medical checkups forms just a small part, or your physical health is just a small part of what health actually entails. Mental well-being is important, social well-being and all. So just to throw light and let you know that there's more to health than sometimes we think. And so we cannot deal with health in isolation. This is just the main point. The criticisms have come across because they said, how do you say a state of complete? Is a complete that people have a problem with? What's it? Only possible there will be completely well, you understand? And that it is a spectrum. So if you take one end to be complete wellness, and then the other end to be complete illness, people are at various stages of it. Some are closer to the complete wellness point bit, and then some are closer there, some are in the middle and all. So they think that this is how you should also define health. And then the other social determinants also of health. Okay? Social determinants. Sometimes when people are not too well economically, they don't feel well. And so that is a criticism, and many of them have criticized this definition, but it is still a working definition that we work with. And it throws light on the fact that apart from physical things, there are mental illnesses, there are social illnesses that we need to pay attention. Everybody have got a role to play. Next slide, please. So as I spoke about, mental illness is also a problem. It's on the ascendancy, and they are advocating mental health. Workplaces, mental health day, to let people know that the adwemu so ubenya apɔmuden no ɔno nso ohia paa. So we advise that you do well to make sure that the home is a very congenial environment. You cannot fight at home because wherever you go from work, wherever there is chaos, when you get home, there should be peace at home. So as men, for instance, who usually are in charge, it's incumbent on us to make sure that the home is safe, is peaceful, it offers a lot of psychological support in the church, wherever we find ourselves. So when we talk about health, mental health is very, very key nowadays. And abnormalities are on the rise. Family and spiritual well-being also very, very important. And so you have to belong to one spiritual group or another. We Christians evangelize and call people to join our fold so that we can together build our faith in the Lord. It's a form of health for us, and not for this physical world alone, but the life hereafter. Okay? And healthy lifestyle by all is what we are advocating for. Diet, exercise, stress management. I mean, you cannot avoid stress. You can't avoid it, but you have to find a way of de-stressing. Okay? When you go on leave, you don't have to go and take another bigger contract than what you had. And that one, we are more vulnerable. Apologies if there's any nurse or doctor or any healthcare worker here. You go on vacation and go and take on even a bigger load. You have to exercise about 30 minutes, 3 times a day, whatever you can do. Don't over-exercise because it also has one problem. Diet is a big problem for us in the cities because we are always in a hurry. We always take the quick and the fast ones, and they are not healthy. So we are talking about reducing saturated fats, taking off more fruits and vegetables, balance it up, less processed foods, and take snack in between. The snack shouldn't be too saturated, the oily and all. You don't eat too late into the night. These are our recommendations. Next slide, please. Now, disease prevention and medical check. More thing there, it's obvious there. All the baby hospitals in Tumumbwa in terms of, medical care and healthcare has advanced so much, but still it gets to a point that we don't have solutions. Besides that, it's expensive. Some of the investigations are so expensive. So the whole focus now is geared towards prevention. Prevent disease. Let's prevent disease if we can. So we'll see various types, what we can do. Some are outside our control. But what we can control, we have better do well to exercise it, to prevent disease, to reduce the cost associated with the treatment, which far outweighs what it takes to prevent the disease. So there are 4 types of prevention: primordial, primary, secondary, tertiary. I will just touch briefly. What are primordial prevention? Oh, no. It's the government, has to provide enabling environment so that people don't get sick, people don't get injured, okay? Bicycle lanes dedicated purposely for bicycles. If it's a bus lane, it's a bus lane, okay? That is a structural, organizational thing which is done at the governmental levels. Do everything to avoid pollution so that you even don't get polluted with your lungs, allergies, atopy, asthma, and all that. That's what's called primordial. Some people have achieved it. But for us, you agree that we still have a long way to go. Even organizing communities, okay? Structure, town and country planning. Here we do this, that place we do that, okay? Sometimes you have LPG filling stations right close to children playing grounds and right children's abode. There are some communities, you just walk before you realize you are in somebody's house, and that kind of thing is outside our control. And people have been able to do it, and if we can do something about this primordial prevention, of course, they all lead to diseases. They all lead to diseases. Congestion, communicable diseases, and non-communicable diseases. And then the primary prevention is vaccines, basically. We give vaccines to children so that they don't get certain diseases. For adults, there are other vaccines we can take, hepatitis B vaccine, and a few vaccine-preventable diseases. Also a prevention, so that's primary prevention. And for secondary prevention, Yarabano was started it up. And so what secondary prevention seeks to do is to detect it at a very early stage and treat it. And sometimes get done with it so that it doesn't progress to an advanced stage. Sometimes it can be cured. Sometimes the progress can be slow, very, very, very slow, so that if it's going to run fast, by interventions, you slow it down. And then the tertiary prevention is chronic diseases and debilitating diseases. So what that prevention does is to prevent incapacitation. So those ones are rehabilitation and physiotherapy. The chronic disease is running, but if you leave it, joints will become clogged, fingers, toes will not be able to move. So physiotherapy, a few rehabilitation exercises, so that quality of life can be maintained. So the focus is on prevention. The prevention is better than cure. It's true. It's been true. It's still true to date. Watch for the next slide. So medical checks, I'm now driving at what I came to do. My main intention was to talk about medical checks. Those ones are just preamble. So this is very important in maintaining good health. To sometimes detect health problems, as I've said, in secondary prevention. In screening, when we go and say we are going to screen for cervical cancer, we are going to look out for people who already have the disease but no symptoms yet. And then when we pick you up, we offer that help that we have so that it doesn't prolong, doesn't protract. If possible, we can get done with it. And then it prevents complications, as we said, from developing in tertiary prevention. So examples are hypertension. Hypertension, in most cases, people have no symptoms at all. Only a few, less than 5%, will have some headaches and so uneasiness. And then they will run to the hospital to go and check. Okay. So if we are checking routinely at church, at a program or anything, it's a figure which will indicate which advice we should give you. And so hypertension is one very, very, very key thing we look out for. Even when you come to the hospital and your problem has nothing to do with hypertension, we still check hypertension. We check blood pressure, we check the pulse, we check the sugar, we check the temperature, opportunistically. And so we find these things and we offer help. Heart diseases, you've got to screen actively to find out. Otherwise, if you leave it, some of them will now become full-blown. At the time people are reporting of symptoms, it might have traveled a little bit longer. Diabetes is the same. A lot of people will not have symptoms about it. And it's an old problem. We'll continue to speak about it. I don't know how many years I've been here to talk about it. For 10 years, still, it's a problem. So we'll also not stop talking about it. Kidney disease. Kidney disease, I think Pakushi drew my attention that if you should talk about it, we'll definitely talk about it. It's topical nowadays. Again, hypertension and diabetes and kidney diseases themselves are causes of end-stage renal disease. And you all know the story in Ghana about its treatment. It's an issue. Where to get the treatment, even if you get a treatment, the costs involved and all. Eye conditions, we encourage that once a while pass through the hospital, see the eye specialist and get your eye checked. There is pressure also in the eye and makes people go blind silently. That blindness is not reversible. It's called glaucoma. But in the event that it is picked that, the pressure in your eyeball is high, You'll be put on simple eye drops. It's not curable, but the eye drops will sustain you. So I was at a program at about last month. There's an association, and the patron was the former First Lady, Nana Konedu Ajima Rawlings. I was wondering why she was sitting there. I'm mentioning her name because she came out to say it. I would have known how she was diagnosed with glaucoma. She challenged her doctors that how? What are you talking about? Long and short, eventually had to accept, educated herself. She's even more educated than us about glaucoma, and took upon herself that she will now be a champion to speak about it, encourage people to go and check. It was accidental check somewhere in South Africa also. I've forgotten the story. And you can go blind easily and quietly. What happens is that with time, you see that your vision, around your vision is narrow. You know, when you sit, you can see on your side, isn't it? If I come to stand, you look straight. You can sense that I'm standing around, isn't it? Yeah, so it's your field of vision. It gets narrowed and narrowed and narrowed. And with time, everything will live and go. It's important with screen. If you don't screen, you won't know it. No symptoms. And to be painful for that to happen to you. That's why we say once a while. When I was younger and I was doing medical check, I used to say every year, and I've changed. Some of the tests, you don't really have to do them every year. It's your physician who will advise that of this test, based on your family history and all, you do it every year or twice a year. Some of the tests can be done once in 3 years. That is how it goes. So don't stick to every year. Some hospitals do well. They advertise it, that come for yearly checks. There's well woman and well, they are all fine. But the truth is that some of the tests, you don't need to do them every year. They cost money and your time and everything. So listen to what your physician or healthcare provider says. Also, in every year, not in every year. Or more reason into. Also, once in 2 years, once in 3 years. ECG, for instance, if electrocardiogram checks the heart, you do it once and you don't have hypertension, you don't have any heart disease, you can do every other year or every third year or so, unless maybe something happens for which we need to check if something has changed. And then cervical disease, not the next cervical disease, but cervix in women. We also recommend that you check prostate conditions and a lot more. So when we talk about prevention, we also don't go preventing everything. We can't do that. We talk about things and of public health interest, something that if you find out or you detect, you can take action. Please, the next slide. So I just brought this one in to let you know that Ministry of Health is also talking about prevention. And one minister, late Pashiga also, yes, he pushed this thing very, very hard. I think they visited Israel also, and there's a town in Israel called Dimona. They really grew very old. No maternal mortality. No, people don't die. People below 35 years, they don't die. Some have some strange indicators. And so they found out their lifestyle, and we imported it here. It's called regenerative health and nutrition. So this is all they do. 5 things. They advocate drinking of healthy water, good water. I must emphasize that. About 3 to 4 liters a day, 6 glasses. Drink water because the tropics very hot, especially during the hot weather. So they drink a lot of water, take fruits and vegetables, they exercise, they rest, and they have a clean environment and clean homes. So this is what they do basically in that Dimona, and they are so healthy. So just to let you know that all agencies are now looking at advocating for prevention. That's what I'm also here doing. Next slide, please. So that's what they say. They say water is medicine, fruits and vegetables are medicine, and indeed they are medicine. But if you take fruit and vegetables, there are so many ingredients, micronutrients, which we've packed into tablets, for you to buy. And the tablets have got incipients and preservatives for you to stay on the shelves for long. So it has other things which your body doesn't really need. But they put in there for it to stay on the shelf for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So if you can get it naturally, okay, that will be fine. Get your vitamin A from all the red ones. Children's eye will be good. They will learn well. You have all the vitamins. Instead of buying B complex, you get all of them there. So fruits and vegetables, they are medicine, actually medicine. They say exercise is medicine. We are saying 30 minutes, 3 times a week. If you can do more, the better. The caution is that you don't also have to over-exercise. Some years back in Kumasi, somebody exercised and dropped dead. And the questions came up on my old school, secondary school platform and all. So what do? You people say exercise is good. I say yes, but you see, you have to do that kind of exercise that the body can tolerate. So the example I gave is that, so if your regular exercise is to run from this, or to walk briskly from this junction to the next one. So you walk routinely, that is what you think you can do. Your body is fine. Next time you increase it, the distance a bit. Now you extend it to where the filling station gradually, and you can walk around Tema. Anytime you exercise, then the next morning you have difficulty waking up, it means that you've over-exercised the previous day. So you just take that as a guide. Because you also have to, when you exercise, the heart should be able to contain that pumping of blood. And so if heart is not that strong and you overwork the heart, you also tend to have a problem. So exercise is good, but on your body, so you can stretch, bike, whatever you want to do, it's good. And then rest is medicine. Although we don't rest at all, but you blame us in Accra. Sometimes you have to leave home 3, 4. Where I live, people live, only God knows, and the children will take their breakfast in the vehicle. They're coming home, and so by the advocate that you sleep about 8 hours for every adult. About 8 hours, that's a lot. You sleep at 9, you wake up at 4 p.m. 4 a.m. That's how you get your 8 hours. Okay, if you reduce it to 6. But sometimes we hardly have such a sleep. And that is why I try to compensate for it when I go on leave. I deliberately decide that I'm going to rest. And you can't get me to do any other work. Really, if it's not an emergency. So the baby or there, Emma, when you are urgent, because see, the body is not a machine. Regardless of whatever you do, you got to pay attention and service it, so to speak. So if you not rest and you be on the run, you carry work home, you carry it to church, you carry it in your car, everywhere, you are not doing yourself any good. And then cleanliness, that one we cannot emphasize is too much. Cleanliness leads to godliness. So cleanliness at home, in the environment, that kind of thing. Next slide, please. Yes. So this is my main business. I'll take my time and explain it a bit for you to understand. Recommended medical checks. Recommended medical checks. The list, you can add to it. You can take some out and can do whatever you want to do with it. We have not standardized it in Ghana yet. So physicians, based on their experience, clinics and all, recommend certain tests for people to do. I have put asterisks there because there are many. And they cost money and they take time as well. But if you will not be able to do all or remember all, the ones with asterisks, they are very important to me. Very, very important to me. I said I've been giving this talk over the years. In the circuit, close to 20 years. It's the same notes. I look and I think, no, this one, it doesn't hold now. So this is what I have settled on. That if you will not be able to remember all, more than 15, but if you will not be able to remember all, the ones with asterisks, try and do them. Try and pass through the hospital. If you haven't done any bit, I know people don't like the hospital. For me, myself, because I work there, I really don't like the environment. Because I don't have any choice. But when you are and go to the hospital of your choice, you can go to government, you can go to private. You are endowed. You have so many choices around to choose from. Just walk in there and you say you want to do your medical test. And then they will have. Nowadays, the Ghana Health Service has actually instituted a policy for hospitals to establish wellness centers. So don't go to the main OPD. Don't go there to the main. Tema General Hospital, when you enter the gate on your right, the pharmacy, you enter and say you are looking for the wellness. There's a signboard actually. Now, because they want people to see them, they're actually sitting under a tree. One day I found out, but what are you doing here? To give you appointments and all that. So number one, full blood count. Full blood count is the blood that runs through us has got some cells in them. The cells have to be in certain quantities, and they have to be of certain shapes and all. That's all what we mean. So just a little blood. And so we call it full blood count because we are counting the cells. This one has to be 10. These cells have to be 20. This one has to be, we have red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Are the numbers okay? Are the numbers less? Are they too much? If they are too much, this is where we pick leukemia from. Please, have you heard about leukemia before? Basic test, where we pick leukemia at an early stage, usually for children and younger people. So they count and say red blood cells, white blood cells. It's very, very important test. They are normal. The numbers are too many. Sometimes when you have infection, the white cells will go up, trying to react to cover the infection because they have soldiers among them. So we need to find out the reason why it is more, it is less. This is where we see anemia. HB should be for a man, should be about 14, 15, 16. A man has HB of 9, 10. You got to find out, is it some worms eating it up? Is it that you are bleeding occultly somewhere? Somewhere you go to probe a bit and find out, so we pick anemia, so many things. It's a simple test, but one of the expensive ones. And then fasting blood sugar. This is where we detect diabetes. Very, very important test. Very, very, very simple. You notice that in almost all health screening, we don't do health screening without a glucometer. We use the meter and the strips. This is where we are able to pick diabetes. And the thing about diabetes is that when people develop diabetes, it's painful. Because there's what you call pre-diabetes. And pre-diabetes for some can take even about 5 years. Okay? So when you do the fasting blood sugar, this is where we are able to tell whether you are normal. So if this is the normal zone, and this is the diabetes zone, a number of people sometimes are found in this zone. Or no, on your normal. Or no, so on your diabetic. It's a window period we catch people and advise. And sometimes all you need is non-medical treatment, dietary advice. A great chunk will revert back to the normal. Because when you get a full-blown diabetes, it's irreversible, it's incurable, and you have to be on medications for life. And the medications, sometimes they cost money, and that's why people get problems. And sometimes it gets to a point that medications don't work the way they've got to work. We need to now employ more effective medications, and they come with cost. So this period of pre-diabetes is what we are looking for, okay? And especially if you have a family history, then for you, your advice, you must be very more stringent. Or the diet, strict, strong one. So it's a very important, but we have other tests we can use to also diagnose diabetes. For doing this test, you must have started for about 12 hours. So if you want to do this test tomorrow, 8 o'clock, your last meal should be up to 8 p.m. today. But you say atasi. But if for some reason you have strong suspicion that you want to check, we can do 2-hour postprandial. What it is that we'll ask you to go and take any food, meat pie, anything you want. 2 hours, you come for us to check your sugar. The level will indicate whether you are a diabetic or you are not, or you are in the middle. Because every meal you take, the body produces corresponding amount of insulin to deal with that meal. 1 ball of kenke, 2 balls of kenke, whatever. But by a certain time, the blood sugar level must have gotten to a certain level. I hope you agree with me. So if by this time, 2 hours, you want to check and your blood sugar is still hanging there, then there's a problem with your insulin. And then the conversation will start. So we have this one. This is a gold standard. We have 2-hour postprandial, have HbA1c and the rest. So for you to know that there are other tests. And the third, so it's also a must. Some have done it before, know their status. As for places like this, when you are doing health talk, you don't really have issues. And it's good because people are well informed. And so it helps the dialogue. Some other places will take time. And we have to do more work. So I'll put a start there. If you haven't done it before this week, anytime, find time and just get it done. And know your figure. Even ask for the interpretation. The normal. It also depends on the type of machine they are using and so many other factors. It's symptomless. No symptoms, especially the type 2. So it is not a lecture about diabetes, but there are so many types. The type 2 is what happens in the adults. Type 1, most of the time, the younger people, sometimes it's combined in one person. Juvenile onset, there are types. So this one is also on the ascendancy. It's a problem. The General Hospital, in the past, we used to do amputation once, twice, and also in a year. I've left the surgical theater, but before I left there, we were doing average by 2 a week or so. So our 8 a month multiplied by 12, that was too much. People coming for amputations, and basically because of diabetes, which has gone out of control, for which if you don't take the focus of infection, so have come for the second amputation, or avoidable, completely avoidable. Then fasting lipids and serum cholesterol, the fat, cholesterol, fat. They are precursors to heart diseases. You might know your status. You might have done it before. If you haven't done it before, it's a must. Then, almighty kidney problems. Number 4. This is where we pick the kidney problem from. Blood urea, electrolytes, they are handled by the kidney and the creatinine. So, or something called kidney function test. So we do it and we look at the state where you are. Sometimes you can see some impairment. The kidney no shut down papa. So that will even guide your physician as to what medication they should prescribe for you. All the medications have got their own rules. So it's very, very important, which you need to do and know where your status is. Sometimes when you are dehydrated, the urea is high. And we always, most of the time, find urea very, very high. You tell people to go and drink adequate water. By the time they come and do the repeat, it's normal. Okay? If electrolytes are low, we need to look at what to do. The creatinine sometimes is low. Creatinine comes from meat, actually. When you eat meat, some of the components are creatinine. But the kidney regulates itself. It takes the excess ones out and then normalizes itself. So if it's unable to take it out and it's accumulating, that's where we have an issue. Or what the dialysis does is to take away the waste with the kidney the body is tired of removing. Next slide. Liver function test. Some have got what to call fatty liver. Fatty liver, you don't treat it. But if you know you have fatty liver, you reduce the beer. Or as for here, no beer, Anna. You reduce the beer, you reduce whatever you have to reduce, anything you have to that has got some alcohol. It will worsen the fatty liver. Serum uric acid. I've not put a star there. If you can do it, it's fine. People who take a lot of red wine and meat a lot, uric acid is a byproduct. It gets accumulated in the joints of the toe, knee, and all. If you have an idea to help to guide you, but really it's not that essential, so I didn't put the star there. Routine urine examination, very important. Simple urine examination. In the morning, first urine. So take the container, not when you've drank water, and no, in the morning, the very first concentrated urine. Take 2, 3, 4 mils in the container and then give them. It tells you a lot about the whole human body. In fact, you can pick diabetes there, you can pick all manner of things. You can see proteins are not supposed to be in the urine under no circumstance. So you find a protein there, what is the protein doing? They usually write 1+. What is the protein doing in the urine? Is it as a result of infection or yes? You receive the advice. Stool routine examination, another very important test. We don't do it often. It's very, very important when you have family history of lung, colon diseases, intestinal diseases. This is routine you must do once. Just do it once and see what is there. Later you can relax. Next test, please. Next. Yes, so blood pressure and pulse, very, very important. Everybody must know their blood pressure. So important. I cannot emphasize. I recommend that you buy the machine and put it in your house, so that it will be more convenient. The machine either uses batteries or it has an adapter. So everybody in the house can check. Everybody can check. It saves you time rather than going to sit there. So you check your pulse rate, check your blood pressure, and then body mass index. I didn't put a star there, but we use the body mass index to find out about those who are overweight or obese. You have the normal weight. From there, then you go to overweight, and then you go to obese, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. What it is that people who have heavy weight, they tend to have cardiovascular disease a lot. So we give you advice to do something about it. And you cannot use people's. I look at somebody and say, how would they consider? You can't just look at the person that way. I have height, so my height will match a certain weight of mine. So until you do the calculation, okay, the weight in kilograms over height in meters squared, you get your figure. We say up to about 24.2 is normal. Then you go, then you graduate it, and then you get the advice. Tell you to reduce it a bit so that you save yourself the trouble of your knee carrying that heavy weight and predisposing you to cardiovascular diseases. Electrocardiogram. I didn't put an asterisk there. This is heart tracing. The heart can be traced on paper. The way the heart beats. You lie and then they put some things on your chest and then on a paper, you look at it and tell you what it is. It's also good, you're able to find out old events. Whatever happens in the heart, they don't go away. They leave. The heart is like, I don't know what to compare it to. It leaves marks. Whatever happens to the heart, all your life, is like a record of past events. So you can take the heart and say, oh, this one has had a heart attack in the past. This one had a recent heart attack, which is healing, and all manner of things. Heart block, that's where we detect heart block. The heart is supposed to beat between 60 and 90 beats per minute. We permit up to 100, okay? People are walking around with a heartbeat of 40, 30. Until something happens, they'll be walking normally. So, of course, we pick them during surgery. I think I was introduced as an anesthetist. That's what I do. My main job is to put people to sleep. Say is making the face. So, Park did the introduction. My main job in the hospital is to put people to sleep for surgery. When I finish, then I wake you up. As to how you wake up, it's only God who knows. My duty is to put you to sleep at a particular point in time. For all the surgeries, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I was in Kolebu in 2000. Some of the surgeries were lasting 18 hours. So that one you continue, and some others will come and take over. So when the surgery is over, then we also wake you up. So there we have to scrutinize the body, if you understand what I mean. So that's where by accident, we find out that people have got heart blocks. And so if the surgery is urgent and the surgery must come on, you see, the heart has got a conducting system. So there's one command that the GMB president gave me command, and I'm here. If I was so tight and I couldn't come, I am the chairman of Greater Accra. I can give another doctor command. If he's also, so you understand. So the chain of command is there for action to take place. Sometimes the original powerhouse where the command is coming, no command is coming. And so subsequent levels take upon themselves the job of the higher one. But they cannot generate such impulses the same way as the top one. See, so when that happens, then there is a heart block, what we call heart block. So for surgery to go on, we put what we call a pacemaker. We now put a battery in the heart to beat normally for the surgery. So if you heard about pacemaker, those are some people. You can't pick it anywhere apart from the ECG. You can, of course, from the ECG, then you move on and on. I didn't put a star there. It's not really essential unless you have to undergo surgery. And for that one, an anesthesia assessment will be done by all means. But for your normal day-to-day life, if you are not a hypertensive diabetic, you really not hear anybody request you to go and do it. But I've just put it there. You can pass through the hospital and have a look. To be fine. Chest X-ray the same. Not that essential. But for some conditions, some people are doing it every year, some twice a year. I'm assuming you are well, you don't need it. Same with abdominopelvic ultrasound. The women pick fibroid and all that. You can let your wives, your daughters who are a bit of mature age, go and have it done. Next slide. Breast self-examination. I put a star there. Those whole thing is very important. The breast self-examination, every month a woman has to assess their breast to know how their breast looks like. Occasionally it's a bit lumpy. If you don't understand things very well, you see the nurse. I think we've done his here before, severally. We've been here. I brought my team in conjunction with your own team. There's a doctor, is it Dr. Sobojo also? And we've done this in severally. It's irrelevant. If you do your own self-breast examination, you are not sure of what you are feeling, go to the hospital. What the nurses do is called breast clinical examination. And then if you are less than 30 years and you have a family history of a breast problem, we say do breast ultrasound scan. And then mammogram is for 40 years and above. What is that? Mammogram is X-ray. If the breast is very dense and heavy, it doesn't help. It doesn't see anything. Eli's breast, which is not too heavy, not too much tissue. So for the elderly group, where the breast is not too dense, mammogram is fine. But for the younger people with a dense breast, you see people requesting for mammogram, it's wrong. They rather have to do ultrasound scan. They do scan of the breast. They're able to see what they want to see better than the mammogram. I put a star because it's important. Number 2, cervical pap smear is important. Every sexually active woman must do cervical pap smear. That is where we see cervical cancer. The topic is family and men and family health. You can't treat men alone or talk to men without families. Although there are not too many women here, but I believe that we'll carry the message home. Let your spouses do the pap smear. I mean, they are done in a lot of hospitals. It's another painful condition when you find somebody with cervical cancer because it is some take about 20 years to develop. And so all this could have done something about it. They do the smear test, look at it, interpret it, and then advise accordingly. Prostate-specific antigen, it's important to do that if you haven't done it before. Dental and eye check. I was speaking about the eye glaucoma. Dental, fine. The next slide, please. So medical check, pre-existing condition. If you have some medical condition already, do regular follow-up and with the plan that you have with the hospital. Don't default. And at that particular stage, please stick to the specialist physician. Ask specifically for the specialist physician, or whichever condition you have, look for a specialist at the stage where you already have a pre-existing condition. Okay, so expertise vary. I will not take upon myself to treat somebody with heart failure when cardiologists are sitting there, when Doku and Francis and Co are sitting there. You get what I'm trying to say? So when you have an established medical condition, make sure that the one you are dealing with is a specialist in the field. We've gone past the stage where one doctor has to do everything. So some things I used to do now, I will never do them. So now the specialists have come, they are there, look for whoever. So diabetes, it used to be physician specialists, now they are diabetologists. That's all they do. So that's what I'm trying to emphasize. And then discuss alternative treatment with your primary physician. There are a lot of alternatives, they work. Herba, so many other things work, but discuss with them. Next slide, please. So always seek expert help and their recommendation. At a certain stage, you have people taking too many medications. They conflict. Sometimes one nullify the effect of the other. So that's what I mean by polypharmacy. So don't just combine the medications and take them by yourself. You might be wasting money because one might be annulling the effect of the other. So seek expert help from the pharmacist or your physician, whether I can combine this or I can add this third medication. Maybe a friend has recommended it to you. Ensure there's a family support. Always make sure that you have the family support. As for this family support, it will actually depend on how you have treated the family. Now you want family support. Hallelujah. So this one, you have to consciously work at this one. Because I've seen in the hospital for too many years, the family support is very, very selective. And when you have the history, you understand why things are going the way they are. So that's why I'm saying it across. Consciously and deliberately make friends. At a certain age, deliberately make friends. I hope I am clear on that one. Regularity of all medical check is per recommendation of the physician. I haven't said every year or every 2 years. No, it's wrong to do that. Whoever you show the test to will look at your profile, your history, your assessment, and say, look, these 2 tests, do them every year. As for these ones, you can do them in 2 years or 3 years. Get tailored advice. That's very important. Next slide, please. One go test, then I'll be ending very soon. So one go test, there are tests that you need to do and record the information somewhere. For instance, blood group. It's important, everybody, you know your blood group. Something happened to a family member. Sometimes that die in medicine, we transfuse group-specific blood. Usually before you transfuse blood, you have to check and cross-match. It's about 45 minutes. But sometimes there is no time. It's so between life and death that you have to transfuse. So we don't cross-match. You see, the point is that I don't assume that this one is B positive, this one is B positive, so the blood will match. So you take this one, you cross-match to make sure they are compatible. But that die emergency, we just call for group-specific blood. What it means is that we are looking for B positive. We have no time to transfer. It could be your own family member. And so if you know that you are such a group, you just own up. Maybe just one unit they want. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So you do your blood group and write it somewhere, so you should know. Let everybody know that in this family, daddy is this, mommy is this is that. You never know. Sickling test is very important for children and young adults because of implications of marriage in future. It's also one test. So if you come to the hospital and they ask you to do it, what I tell people is that unless you don't know the test that the doctor has requested, if you know that the doctor has requested sickling, doctor, for sickling, my EBITDA, me AA. When they do it now, you have saved yourself some money and time. So are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. The way they say it will let you know. So are you AA? Are you AS? Are you SS? It's one test, unless you didn't do it in the correct lab. And then GCSP is also an enzyme which you need to know whether you have deficiency or not. One. And then hepatitis B and C screening Do once. If you are, it doesn't really concern you people. Those of us who work in the hospital, it's mandatory because of blood. Transmission is through blood, semen, other body fluids. So you have to do it and get a vaccine for protection. Next slide. Now, the prevailing problem, double burden of disease, communicable and non-communicable disease in middle-income country like Ghana. We're fighting infections like TB, HIV, emerging diseases, COVID. You don't know what will come again. And again, we are fighting non-communicable diseases, non-transmissible diseases, non-infectious diseases like hypertension, diabetes. So we have what we call double burden, spending a lot of money on this. The infectious diseases, Europe and the rest, most of them, they are done with them, but we still have them. Diabetes, malignancies, mental health disorders, they are a prevailing problem which you need to talk about and think about. Next slide. Funding of the test. NHIS can do something, can cover some of the tests. Private health insurance, we recommend everybody should have a private health insurance if you can, apart from the NHIS. Personal budgeting, you say the whole year, I'm going to pay for tests, find out how the test costs. The ones I put star there, if you have money to do all, to fine. Decide I want to do it every June or every July, or my birthday, or when I go on leave. And it also with the family. So that, because it's difficult funding it out of pocket, but have a plan for it. And then corporate health programs. Some offices and establishments actually mandatory for staff to do it. Take advantage of it. The church one, take advantage of it. You know, by the grace of God, we've helped so many people by the results and the outcomes by these church health programs. Methodist Church is so good in that one. And you fund it so well. Once it's health, Methodist is so health conscious. So take advantage, whatever they are going to do in the church, bring your household and do it because you can save a lot of money from that. Next slide. Plan the exercise, the annual leave, specific time of the year, school vacation. Keep all the records in a file. What it is that usually one figure is difficult to interpret it, but when you have a trend, what was the same who used to trend? The city is falling, is the whatever inflation. So we do the same. If you say one figure, one blood pressure, 150/96, it's difficult. And nobody will tell you we're hypertensive. Sometimes people make mistakes to say that, hypertension. We want to look at the trend. And see, anytime you have opportunity to have yourself checked, church, wherever, note the figure. Okay? So if you show it to the physician, he's able to make meaning. If it's fluctuating, he's not able to make any meaning out of it. He will say, okay, let's leave this blood pressure and go and do Holter's monitor. Holter's monitor is across the General Hospital, is in some special places. We attach the machine to your body with a BP machine, and it will take your blood pressure within 24 hours. It will be what you won't bath that day. And you come in the morning, we take the recording. Yeah, some have got nocturnal blood pressures. Some people, their blood pressures go up only in the night. Okay? And whether you dip or you don't dip, every normal person, at a certain point in the night, the blood pressure should drop and then to rise again. It's called circadian rhythm. So if you don't seem to be able to make any meaning out of the what written, then go and do Holter. As for Holter, it will pick it. Or you eat, you drive, you do everything. And when we print, oh, this man, his or her blood pressure goes up in the night. In the day, it's normal. In the afternoon, you get what I'm... So to follow your rhythm and all. Sometimes you have to provoke the heart for ischemia and all. So keep record of baseline indicators. They are better than trends. Next slide. Conclusion is far more cost-effective to prevent disease than to treat. And then regular medical checks will slow down progress of diseases and incapacitation to improve quality of life. Early detection will save the healthcare system. Next slide. The burden on the healthcare infrastructure. Some people are in the hospital, they are not supposed to be there with this stroke. They've occupied bed. You don't know when they are going to be discharged home. Meanwhile, it's purely preventable. Some people, when they are rushed to the OPD and diagnosed with stroke, that's the first time ever they are hearing they have hypertension. That's the first time. So that's what I'm talking about. To get that chunk away, the hospital bed will be free. This no bed syndrome thing can reduce. So you use your resources prudently, you channel into other things, other personal level or the government and all. The next slide. So involve the family also, check self-medication, and then report early when you are ill. Next slide. All should be encouraged to visit the hospital at least once for check, at least once. I'm not saying once a year, just pass through the hospital once. And go to the wellness center. Now, previously the complaint was that, by time, now the time. But if you go to the wellness center, the private people do better than us in the government hospital. They are more friendly. And then that is the next slide. Thank you.
Ebenezer, Obaya Sambom Krunkaho. The Mabri Yati, Doctor Nenmasam, Onyana Casabibre, Etino, Asamo Kaino. Now, your baby son, Zochi and Arjun, Ebia, Bibioha, Okaya, enter Sia, Ebu Conato, na ebisa